Hello survivors and welcome to another Walking Dead Road to Survival video, and in this video we're going to be going over Carson, seeing how his kit actually works. He is an Advanced Mythic character, of course, coming to the Advanced Mythic wheel. We've seen the visuals already, but we can kind of see the animations and stuff now. I do like the sword, I do really like the sword. Like I said, it is a kind of Romanish gladius, does look really cool. On the left hand side we can see the art in a bit better detail. We have a lot of guns here. He had all these weapons to choose from, and the guy comes in with the Roman gladius. It's an interesting choice indeed. I'm not so sure about that choice. I think I would have taken like a rifle or something like that, or at least this silenced one that you can see in front of him. He looks very much in thought as well. Should I go with the pistol, the rifle? Nah, we're going to go with that gladius, bro. We're going to go with the gladius. If we look at his stats, we get to see them with 4 lieutenants this time around. Level 1,440, limit break 3, he has got 14,586 attack, 26,101 defense, and a massive 36,082 HP. So very much balanced towards that HP stat. It's going to boost other things that are going to be on in his kit. What bonus HP is going to get from his specialist skill. Obviously the multipliers that come in are going to be on HP, it's going to be better that way. He's going to be a fast character, medic as well. And he is going to be joining the Savior's Allegiance, as we already knew. But I don't think he's too great for Faction Assault, unless you want someone who's just more for survivability, but I don't think that's going to be required, really. Now, just going over his Adrenaline Rush again, it's Combat Technician. It is a 55 AP cost rush. This character gets 100% defense for 2 turns and heals for 30% of their max HP for 2 turns. Deal 10% of this character's max HP as main damage to an enemy, plus 2 main targets while battling on the defense team. I think this is primarily going to be a defense team buff. The heal and the defense obviously is going to be very nice there. The amount of maim he's going to do potentially could be used in things like conquest or stuff like that, but I think primarily he's a defense team in war and raids and so on and so forth. He's going to hit more targets. 3 characters getting 10% of his character's max HP as maim. It's going to be reasonable. You could get him over 100k. And that's going to be 10,000 main damage to 3 targets. And attack team characters have like 20k HP. So it's going to be a massive amount of their HP. And it can't be healed. It has to be cleansed. So it doesn't matter if they get healed up afterwards. Their new HP is very low at that point. Okay, so we are going to get the Adrenaline Rush from Carson here. And it's just worth noting that this doesn't do any trait damage. So it doesn't matter which characters he does this against. It's always going to be the same amount of damage output. I think I got him up to like 80,000 HP just with this little quick setup. And basically whatever his main damage that he does here times 10. And that's what I got it up to. We'll do the defend action. We'll see a bit of main damage come in. We actually saw damage come in from someone else. And we saw 9,000 main damage go to 3 characters. And you can see the dog pile from other characters. He will generally attack the character that is going to be the dog pile, which in this case was Raven. The other character is going to follow up with the damage on that character as well. But now we have 2 characters on the other side of the team, which is going to be Crag and William, with now like a new max HP. So their new max HP is 10,000. This also obviously changes the amount of bonus HP they can get as well. So they're much more susceptible to being taken out. You can see there's a bit of burn going around the team. In some cases, this could be one proc of this particular burn could take one of these characters out because they've got quite low HP in this case. And there are other characters with much lower max HP off base. I think Shane in that particular team has 19,000. I think Sophia has quite low, so does Kenny. So generally some of the harder hitting characters have less HP because they've got more base attack. It's kind of the way it goes. Now if we look at the upgrades, you can see at grade 2 it gets an upgrade where it gets plus 50% defense for 2 turns. That's going to be an initial buff from the defense. And then at grade 4 it gets an upgrade where there's plus 2 main targets while battling on the defense team. This only requires 1 copy, pretty straightforward. At LB1, which is 3 copies, you get plus 50% defense on the initial grade 2 upgrade, and it goes up to plus 100% defense total. And then at limit break 3, it does plus 5% main damage. So initially it is only 5% main damage, and then it goes up to 10% main damage. I'd say this is quite important if you want to utilize Carson as someone who's going to do damage. You don't necessarily have to see him that way. He is a medic. He is going to be doing other things that are going to be pretty good. We'll check out the rest of his kit here. But if you want him to utilize as much damage as possible, LB3 seems quite important for sure. So I think the rush is okay. As said previously, a lot of defense team characters just have like okay-ish rushes. They mainly have a lot of power in their signature moves and their passives because these are the things that are going to have a better chance of actually taking place. You know, signature moves turn 1, passives at the beginning of the fight, so on and so forth. But the rush is pretty good. If it goes off, it's going to be problematic for the characters that get hit, but also hitting Carson afterwards. He's going to have a massive defense buff. He's going to be healing himself every turn, which is going to work in, you know, tandem with his specialist skill, which is going to, again, in turn, buff the rest of his team with survivability a little bit. So, yeah, it's going to be problematic if this rush goes off. So if you team him up with characters like Davey, who would also potentially have someone like Sebastian on the same team, a lot of people will maybe see Carson as maybe a character to ignore, and then if that rush does go off, it's going to be, like I say, very problematic. But next we'll move on to the signature move, and it is Healthy Shields. Initial cooldown turn 1, cooldown 2 turns, number of uses are limited. All other teammates get Guardian Shield, all fast teammates get 100% heal reduction resistance for 2 turns. I want to see if he gets it himself. I assume he will get the 100% heal resistance, but he will not get the Guardian Shield. But 4 Guardian Shields going off on turn 1 potentially is going to be very, very annoying, honestly. I hate Guardian Shields. I think this is going to be very powerful, just because of how Guardian Shields work, how you have to take them out. You're wasting attacks, you're wasting skills. If you come up against, you know, teams, there's a team like in my region, for whatever reason, who like runs Marge on their defense team. And while it's just an easy team, it just takes like an extra 2 turns to take out because there's Guardian Shields everywhere. It's just really annoying. So we'll just test this out. I'm pretty sure the Guardian Shield part of it is pretty straightforward. I just want to see if he gets that heal reduction resistance. I'm pretty sure he will though. Okay, so I have done my signature move with William to daze a couple of the characters. We did not daze Carson, so he'll still do his signature move. It's just to stop there being too much clutter with all the skills. Carson will do his signature move. I think Jeremiah will too. But we'll see who gets the Guardian Shields, who gets the heal reduction resistance. We'll do the defend action here. Guardian Shields come up. And then the heal reduction's coming up as well. Does he get it himself? Just watch. Carson got the heal reduction resistance. So did Jeremiah, Tara, and so did Martinez. Obviously, I used a tough character to just show you that if you don't use a fast character in one of the slots, they will not get the heal reduction resistance. But everyone's now got a Guardian Shield, except for Carson himself. But this is, like I say, very annoying. There's not much you can do to get through Guardian Shields except doing damage. And of course, like you just saw with Crag's Rush, if you do damage to someone or like control on someone with a Guardian Shield, it actually blocks the control too. This character is not confused. So Guardian Shields are just, like I say, quite problematic. They're not massively prevalent on defense teams at the moment. They were a little bit at the beginning of the Mythic era with like Ezekiel, but this is like a major comeback, to be honest. Now I'll go straight into the upgrades. You can see at grade 3 it gets plus 50% heal reduction resistance, so initially it is just 50% heal reduction resistance. At grade 5 it gets -1 to starting cooldown, which is quite important to be able to get off turn 1, because initially it's going to be a turn 2 starting cooldown. And then at LB2 it gets an upgrade where all other teammates get a Guardian Shield. This is honestly probably the most important thing in Carson's kit to get to, you know, powerful. And LB2 seems, I would say, the minimum to be able to use him to a good standard on a defense team by the looks of things. If he's more of a support character, if you want him to do the damage output, LB3 for that rush. But LB2 on his signature move honestly is a must, which would be 4 copies. The Guardian Shields are going to be very annoying to deal with. Very, very annoying to deal with. It's going to slow things down quite drastically for attack teams. And personally, I'm going to hate it. I hate Guardian Shields. I always have. Just because there's no like mechanic in the game to remove them other than actually hitting the Guardian Shield and wasting your turn. You can potentially get characters that have splash or something like that happen though, but there are not too many characters around to do that, not at the moment at least. It's a very good signature move here for Carson. You know, keeps his teammates alive a little bit longer, will draw out the fight a little bit more, make your defense team a bit slower to take down, and that's pretty much the aim of things when it comes to war. Now, before we move on to the passives, we are going to be doing an advanced token giveaway here for Carson, because he is an advanced token wheel character. We are going to be doing 10,000 tokens to the winner, 5,000 tokens to 2 runners-up. And all you have to do to enter is type the word Gladius in the chat below. I would do this as a longer comment. If you just type Gladius, YouTube could potentially spam your comments, so be very careful. It's always fun to see how you guys incorporate these entry phrases into your comments. I always love reading them, so yeah, go ahead, knock yourselves out, guys. Best of luck if you enter. Now back to the video. Now, Carson, of course, has some mythic abilities. These are going to be his passive skills. First off, he has got Spirit, which is going to give 20% bonus HP for all the healing he does. It has to be healing he actually applies to a character, not just potential heal. So, for instance, if someone's missing 1% of their HP and he heals them with a fast healing weapon, it will do 20% of that 1%. It's just, that's how it works. The next one's Neck Protection, 100% decap resistance, pretty much exactly what it says. Really good passive here. Obviously, fully upgrade that one no matter what. It's going to be very hard to decap this character. Only a character with the specialist skill decap, who is a control character, has any possibility of decapping me in this case, I'm pretty sure. Just because even if he's got like crosshairs on him and stuff like that, he's not going to be able to get decapped. And quick healing when being attacked, 100% chance this character heals by 20% of their max HP for each fast teammate on their team. Won't heal self if at max HP, and max bonus HP when attacked. Kind of interesting. We've seen this before, where the won't heal self sort of thing. You'll have to be hit first before being able to heal himself. But if he's got max HP and max bonus HP, he's generally going to be at like 200,000 HP, so it's not going to be too much of a problem. Now, the final passive is called Faulty Start. At the start of each wave, 50% chance to damage roll enemies, get dazed for 2 turns. This is very problematic, specifically for some of the newer wave characters that are attack team characters, because there's a lot of power within those signature moves on those characters, and this is going to block them. It is going to target damage roll characters, but like I said in my previous sneak peek video, if you team this character up with Alpha, which I will do a test of, I'm pretty sure you could daze all 5 characters on the attack team. Okay, so we're going to attack again, and as you can see, the daze did come in from Carson. Raven's been dazed, and her signature move is extremely powerful, and so did Shane. Again, another very powerful signature move. It does only target damage roll characters, so if you've only got 2, it's guaranteed to go to those 2 characters if it actually procs. Now, of course, you can do resist to stop this from happening sometimes, but it's obviously worth noting that if you do resist for days, you're not going to be doing resist for other things, which could also be problematic based on whatever team that Carson's in. If he goes into a Tyrese team, there's a lot of taunt in those teams, and yeah, that's something that you generally would want to stop from happening anyway. We're going to do some attacks against him, and you'll just see him heal himself up. And because of how his specialist skill works, when he's taking damage, he'll take a bit of damage, heal himself up, and then give bonus HP to the entire team. And this is because, obviously, he has got specialist skill overheal. Now, everyone's got fully bonus HP. Now, if I do damage now, I think it will just reduce his HP. But then if I do it again, it will do the heal because of the fact that I did damage. Then it will give the bonus HP back. It's kind of how it works. And just to test it out with an Alpha, you can see that there is the potential that the entire team can get dazed, because Alpha does daze 3 on her leader skill, and Carson has a 50% chance to daze 2 damage roll characters. Now, potentially it could all proc and actually all 5 won't be dazed, because theoretically Alpha could daze damage roll characters with her leader skill, but then the 50% chance to proc would have a 50% chance to daze characters that are damage roll, but there's no more damage roll characters left. So, but the potential is there. You can see the full potential. We have got the entire team dazed, which is very good indeed. Now, while Carson doesn't actually work behind an Alpha when it comes to the leader skill, you could see it as a worthy sacrifice just to slow things down drastically. Those signature moves are quite important just for AP gain for attack teams, just to be able to get their rushes off naturally pretty quickly. Without getting that initial power, you're basically looking at 5 basic attacks off of turn 1. That is not good at all, honestly. You're not going to get enough AP to get even Laura's AP gain a lot of the time if you're not careful. So that could work really nice, honestly. If we look at the upgrades here, we can see at grade 1, we're going to get the first half of Neck Protection. That's the 50% decap resistance. At grade 2, it's the first half of Spirit. 10% of all healing performed is going to be granted as bonus HP. Then at grade 3, we get the second half of Neck Protection, making it 100% decap resistance overall. Grade 4, we get the first half of quick healing. 50% chance this character heals by 20% of their max HP for each fast teammate on their team. Won't heal itself if at max HP and max bonus HP, as we saw in the clips before. Grade 5, we get the first half of 40 start. At the start of each wave, 20% chance 2 damage roll enemies get dazed for 2 turns. Then we move on to the limit breaks. You can see at limit break 1, Spirit 2 is going to come in, making it 20% bonus HP on the healing. At grade limit break 3, we're going to get the second half of quick healing, and it's going to be a 100% chance this character heals by 20% for each fast teammate on the team when they're attacked. And then at limit break 3, you have 40 start 2, and that's going to be a grand total of 50% chance 2 damage roll enemies are going to get dazed for the first 2 turns of combat. I like these passives a lot. I do like the quick healing. I think a lot of people would probably look at this and say he hasn't got any taunt on his kit, so you know there's not going to be any priority to attack this character. But do remember, when he does his signature move, he gives a Guardian Shield to everyone else, kind of baiting you to attack him because he's the only person who doesn't have a Guardian Shield. And then obviously this will proc when he gets attacked. So it's going to be pretty decent in that case. I think pretty much all these passives are worth upgrading. Spirit is the only one that is completely up to how you want to do things. He doesn't heal other teammates too much by the looks of things, except for if he is holding a fast healing weapon. A lot of his heals are self, but he doesn't necessarily need to get bonus HP from that because he's going to get off his specialist skill. So if you're short on supplies, maybe leave Spirit till last or only get up partially. The other ones are much more important. Decap resistance 100%, 40 start for sure as well. Quick healing is of course good too, but I think because it's a little bit more controllable by someone who's attacking, the other ones are not. For instance, daze resist is RNG. If they resist it or not, it's obviously good or bad, but if it lands, it's very problematic for an attack team. The 100% decap resistance just is there forever. And like I said before, there's very few characters going to be able to decap him. And that's going to be problematic on those like insta revives that you get of some characters, like at the beginning of the turn. Carson could team up with someone like that quite well. Like how he can go in a Tyrese defense team, and there is of course going to be Carl on that team who revives someone when someone's attacked. And because Carson can't be decapped, that means he's got a good chance of being revived if he gets taken out too quickly. And if he doesn't get taken out too quickly, then he's got a good chance of doing his adrenaline rushes. That'd be kind of a decent mix up there. Now next up is the specialist skill. We saw this in action in the look at his passives. You saw that he was getting healed by his passive and he was at max HP, and because of that, Overheal 2 was coming in and he was giving 50% of any heals he was receiving over 100% HP as bonus HP to himself and all teammates. We know how this works. We've got Davey in the game, we've got Nor, very powerful specialist skill obviously, and he can make this proc at the beginning of the fight because of his weapon, which we'll look at in a second. And you can obviously have other characters out there giving HP heals on weapons, or at the beginning of the fight. There are definitely some synergy team ups that you can do with Carson to make this specialist skill, you know, boost the bonus HP of characters very early. This is good for defense teams, but actually pretty decent for some attack teams too. And I wouldn't necessarily say he's great for attack teams, but he could be decent, like trying to go up against teams that are much stronger than yours. Now he has got an attached weapon, and the original weapon as advertised wasn't as good as it actually is. If we look at the buffs, you can see it has 40% HP, 40% defense, improved party healing. At the start of each wave, heal all teammates for 80% of their max HP, improved rush reduction, reduce rush damage this character takes by 30%. Initially, the improved party healing was just showing us party healing because it was a very early screenshot of the character that I was provided with. That was obviously faulty and wrong, and you can see the actual proper percentage here. This does mean that if he's holding his base weapon at the start of the fight, he's going to give bonus HP 40% to all teammates, because 50% of 80% is 40. And he's going to give huge amounts of bonus HP just holding this weapon right when the fight starts. And this happens before the enemy attacks. This also teams up with other characters. Tara on her base weapon also has party healing, which is 40. And you could add up to 60% total if you team them up. There's a lot of potential Carson like duos and trios I can see on defense teams. You know, Tara, Davey, Alpha, that's the leader options. Then there's other characters in the teams like Martinez, Carl, these sort of characters, potentially even someone like Circuit, if you can get in the same team because of how the revive stuff works, could be kind of interesting with her weapon bonus. There's not much damage people can do off of turn 1, so maybe, I don't know, we'll have to see what kind of teams people put together, but I think primarily people are going to use him in Davy teams, but he has got a lot of potential with even some of the older leaders too. So that was just a little look at Carson and how his skills are actually going to perform and work, and it looks pretty good. He looks like a very solid defense team fighter for sure. He definitely has good synergy with a lot of characters by the looks of things. Him on himself, I don't think he's going to be too problematic as an individual, but if you let his rush get, out of hand, it can be very problematic for sure. I think a lot of people just not prioritize him, honestly, on attack teams. You can't really do much because of one of the passives, because of the bonus HP that he's going to be giving out, but that Guardian Shield proc is going to come up all the time, and Guardian Shields are going to be over his team a lot, which is, like I say, very problematic. When he gets taken out and he can't be decapped really, if someone does revive him, he could do his signature move straight away and just give Guardian Shields to the entire team. That is going to be frustrating as hell, I think. But do give me your thoughts on Gold Mythic Carson. Is he a character you're going to try and get your hands on? Let me know in the comments down below. That is it in my video. I want to thank you very much for tuning in. And as always, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.